My daughter is Allison. She's almost 12, and she has a single ventricle heart condition, and she had her Fontan about 7 years ago. She was born with a stenotic pulmonary valve. Unfortunately, she had developed staph infection, and so she was admitted again to the hospital, and they tried to manage it medically, but ended up needing some emergency surgery when she was like 3 weeks old, I think it was. It was a pretty awful night. It was an awful hospital stay, and they ended up having to convert her to a single ventricle, so they had to shut down one side of her heart. I will tell you, I don't even know how I slept that night. I don't really know if I slept that night because I did not know if she was going to be alive when we woke up in the morning. But thankfully she was. A couple years later, she had her Fontan, and she's really been fine since then.
My son is Nasalakam. We call him Nas, but his name means battle tested. When we found out about his defect, it was probably, I would put as one of the worst days ever. We went for just a normal ultrasound, and when we were in there for so long, I knew something was wrong. He was able to just have the calf procedure. They just put a stent in the PDA. They did that when he was 4 days old. But at 2 months, we noticed that his saturation started to drop, and where we thought that maybe he wouldn't need to get a balloon in the stent until maybe 3 to 4 months. Then at 6 months, we had his surgery scheduled. So we ended up going in 3 weeks early as an emergency visit. He went home 7 days after the gland. I don't think we've been to the hospital since December of last year.
We think about the most critical heart disease, single ventricle heart disease, and the staged operations that occur with them. We now expect that those who have a Fontan operation to survive decades after the Fontan operation. But it doesn't cure the disease. They don't have normal hearts, though it stabilizes the circulation. It still is a life-limiting circulation that really puts kids, adolescents, and young adults at risk for ongoing health challenges, liver disease, kidney disease, lung disease, the risk of stroke, the risk of arrhythmias, risk of heart failure.
We know that the Fontan is damaging her liver and her kidneys, and she already has kidney disease. I worry that someday she will need a triple organ transplant, that she'll need a liver, heart, kidney transplant.
When we were in the hospital after his gland, I was there with a heart mom whose her daughter was maybe 4, and her Fontan failed. It scares me. I am anxious all the time.
Over the years, the funding that is available for congenital heart disease research has not gone up, and there's been such reliance on philanthropy groups like the Children's Heart Foundation to help fund research that could be the stepping stone to federal funding down the road. And what Dr. Rodefeld has been working on is really an implantable, low-energy pump, not attached to any cords, that can be placed in a patient who has Fontan circulation that could help mitigate development of these complications that are certainly going to happen after Fontan palliation.
You can see the four-way connection, and in the center of that is a spinning disc. It looks like a two-sided cone, and it has an electrical motor embedded in the center of it. The pathways through here have to be wide open so that if this ever fails, it will not block flow. The solution in about 5 years of head scratching was to put the motor in the center rather than on the outside as an inside-out motor. To me, it's a relatively bulletproof solution because it restores normal physiology. Just the knowledge that I could take an idea and find a way to recreate that to improve health and potentially double the lifespan of these people is very exciting.
Well, congenital heart disease is the most common birth defect worldwide. And despite that, less than 2% of research dedicated to healthcare was targeted at pediatrics. And of the 2%, less than 5% is targeted at pediatric cardiac research. So there's a real need to fund congenital heart disease research for children, adolescents, and now adults that are growing up with congenital heart disease.
I want to help the people who can, like the brilliant people who have ideas for how to help our kids live longer.
I think that's every heart mom's fear, is not knowing if your child is going to make it, if your child will outlive you. So hearing that is just, it's so much hope that there is something out there that is being researched, that is a possibility. Funding research like this helps with not only my child, but children in the future, to help with those advancements. So hopefully all of these children can live a normal, healthy life.
People look at Allison and they see like a normal, healthy kid. And I love that for her. I want that for her.
He's great. He's a happy, smiling, full of personality.
The work that is done by the Children's Heart Foundation and all the communities that raise money for congenital heart disease research is incredibly important for us to continue to advance the field of congenital heart disease.
Thank you. Thank you for the work that the Children's Heart Foundation is doing and the opportunity to talk about NAS. Thank you.